Hi guys, today we are going to go ahead and go over a few non-Mendelian genetics inheritance patterns such as incomplete dominance, codominance, and also a little bit of sex-linked traits. This is something you guys tend to struggle on a little bit more, so we're going to spend a lot more time on this. To go over a couple things, in the past, what we have looked at is Mendelian inheritance. So typically we would have, let's use B for example, we would have big B, which is homozygous dominant. We would have big B, which is heterozygous, and we'd have little b. Okay, this is Mendelian. Okay, this is known as homozygous dominant, big B, and it shows the dominant trait. Okay, big B is heterozygous. It's also known as a carrier. And it also shows the dominant trait. Now, little b would show the recessive trait. So, a little bit to go over. Big B heterozygous shows that dominant trait, but could pass this little b on to their offspring, and that's why it's known as a carrier. This is Mendelian genetics, okay? What we're getting into now is non-Mendelian genetics. We're going to draw a big X through that with my not-so-good marker. We're going to grab another one of those. And we are now going to move on to incomplete dominance. Now, incomplete dominance is when we can have either dominant traits or incomplete is like, oh, when you're incomplete without the other person, you blend together. So there can be a mix of traits. So in incomplete dominance, there can be a mix of traits. So whenever you see incomplete dominance, know that there can be a mix of traits. Let's go over this. The color of some flower petals is determined by incomplete dominance, a blending of traits which occurs when neither allele is dominant. So neither allele, that could be R, big R, little r, neither of them are more dominant over the other. So if they're just big R, it'll show up as that trait. If it's just little r, it'll show up as that trait. But if it's big R, there could be a mix. So in flowers below, PR codes for red petals. PW codes for white petals, and PW codes for pink petals. Let's go over this. We have a red flower, which is PR, mixed with a white flower that is PW. So we're going to go ahead and draw one of these flowers red, okay? So essentially what this paragraph told us, guys, is that PR is red. So think of that as big R. PW is white. And PW in incomplete dominance is a blend, and red and white make pink. Okay? I would always recommend making a little cheat sheet on the side of your paper like this as soon as you read a paragraph like this to break it down. So we've got a red flower, which is PR, and we've got a white flower, which is PW. So we're going to put these together. Here we've got PW. Here we've got PW. Okay, so what it's asking is, what are all the offspring? Well, it's not red because there's not two R's. It's not white because there's not two W's. But they are all going to be pink. See that blend of traits, okay? The next one says we have a pink flower, so we have PW, again, same cheat sheet over here, so we've got a pink flower right here, and then we've got another pink flower right here, PW. So let's put them together. PR. Oh, there's not two of them, so what is this? If it's PR, it is going to be red. So this is a red one. Here we've got PW. So what's that going to be? It's going to be a pink one. Then here we've got PW again. It's another blend. And then here we have PW, PW. Because they're not competing, we have a white flower, so white, okay? So the question is, which cross would give you the most red flower offspring? Well, let's think about this. If we had a red and a white, that would mean we'd have big R, and WW. Would that give you any red flower offspring? No, because none of these are red. They're all pink. Okay, so it's between these two. If we have pink, we could have this, so we get one red here. But if we have red and pink, what are we going to get? We're actually going to get the most because we want red. So that means that there's going to be more R's than W's, and we are going to get more PRPR than PRPWs. Okay? Now we're going to move on to is codominance. And codominance is like co-captains or co-pilots. Both people show up to the party, both people are fair. So whereas in incomplete dominance, there's a mixture of traits, or there's a blend because no one is over-dominant the other, in this one, they're both dominant. So they're not going to blend. One's not going to overshadow the other, but if they both show up, they're going to both show. So codominance is both traits are equally dominant. So the color of wild horse's coat is determined by two dominant alleles. A horse with the genotype BB will have a brown coat. So let's start that cheat sheet. BB equals brown. WW will have a white coat. And BW will have a painted coat. That just means like spotted. That is both brown and white. Do you see how here there was a mixture of the two? Here, both are showing up in the painted. So what we have is we have a white horse here, and we have a brown horse here. And I do not have a brown pencil, so we are going to make it a crazy brown. We're going to color this horse green. Isn't it beautiful? I know. So we're going to mix all these together. We've got BW, 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 BW. Are any of these brown? Nope. Are any of them white? No. They all have B and W, which means they both show up. So all of these are going to be painted or spotted. Pretend this green is a brown. They're both going to show up. Now, for this one, we are going to have a white horse and a painted horse. And we got that cheat sheet to the side, remember. Always make that cheat sheet right off the bat. It's going to really help you in the long run. So let's go ahead and put these parents together. So we've got a BW, got a BW. Ooh, we got a WW and a WW. Okay. Well, WW, that's all pure dominant. So that's going to be white, just like it says over here. We don't have any brown, but we do have two painted. So in codominance, it's like co-captains. They're both going to show up on the field. They're both going to show up in the animal or the plant or whatever has that trait. In incomplete dominance, they're incomplete without each other. They're going to mix together. So which cross would give you the most painted offspring, or the most spotted? Well, what is brown and brown going to give you? It's going to give you all brown. So painted in brown, that's going to be BW and BB. That's going to give you the most painted offspring. Okay? The last one I want to go over is sex-linked traits. So this is something that some people really, really struggle on, and I don't want to psych you out, but I want you to always come back to this video if you get confused. So what we have is we have a literal representation of sex-linked traits in flies. So fruit flies normally have red eyes, but there is a X-linked trait that actually gives fruit flies white eyes, okay? So I'm going to read this for you, and then we're going to make a cheat sheet. As a reminder, what always is XX, male or female? Female. XY is always male, okay? So the color of a fly is located on the X chromosome. That's a big deal. So Y is not going to carry it. Only the X's are. Because the female has two X chromosomes, she must have two recessive alleles to show the recessive phenotype. X big R is dominant, coding for red eyes, and X little r is coding for white eyes. So let's make a cheat sheet. Let's start with females. There's going to be more in this cheat sheet than typical, okay? What are all of the possibilities for females? Well, it's carried on the X chromosome, so we can have 2. It could be X big R, which is a red female. It could be X big R, X little r, which could be a red female, but a carrier. Or it could be an X little r, and that would be a white female. So she has a 1/3 of the chance out of these possible 3 genotypes, it's actually smaller than that, to be white female, okay? Now males are a different story because males can only carry that trait on their X, and they don't have to. So males can either be X big RY or X little ry. The X big RY is a red male, and the X little ry is the white-eyed male. Notice how the males have a much bigger shot of getting white eyes than up here. So if I were to ask you, who is more likely to get that recessive phenotype and why? Well, the males are more likely to get that phenotype or physical characteristic because X little r is 50% shot, okay? So we're going to go through this together. We have a red-eyed female that is X big R, cross the white-eyed male, which is X little ry. So we're going to color in these eyes. Okay, got a red-eyed female and a white-eyed male. So a red-eyed female is homozygous dominant for it, so X big R, and then we've got a white-eyed male, which is X little ry, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and put those together. Always put the capitals first, always put the X's first. So X big R, X little r, X big R, X little r, X big R, Y, X big R, Y. So this one, is it a female or a male? Because it's got 2 X's, it's a female. Is it red-eyed or white-eyed? It's got that big R, so it's going to be a red-eyed female. Here, is it a female or a male? 2 X's, so we have a female. And it's got 1 big R, 1 little r. That dominant's going to overshadow it, so we have a red-eyed female. Now down here, we only have 1 R. Notice how the Y does not carry 1. This is not inherited on the Y chromosome, only on the X, okay? Both of these have 1 X, so we know it's a male. And both of them have big R, so we know they're all red-eyed. Okay? Now I'm asking you to do another crossover here, and we have a red-eyed female and a red-eyed male. Just out of curiosity, who's going to be the carrier, the female or the male, in an X-linked trait? Who can be heterozygous? Females. So in order to be a carrier, you have to be a female in this circumstance. So red-eyed female, X big R, X little r, but we're heterozygous, so we're a carrier. And then a male who is X big R, Y. Okay, so let's do this again. We've got X big R, X big R. Is that a female or a male? It's a female. It's got 2 X's and 2 big R's. Gives us a red-eyed female. Here, we're going to have X big R, X little r. Is that a female or a male? Female. And it's also going to have red eyes because it's got that capital R. Here, we've got X big R, Y. Is that a female or a male? Male, because it's only got 1. And it's red-eyed because it's got that capital R. And then we've got X little ry. Is that a male or a female? It's a male, but that's going to be white-eyed, okay? So, I ask you 2 questions here. What are the possible genotypes, not phenotypes, for females with red eyes versus white eyes? So we can have red eyes and white eyes. And I ask you the exact same question for males. The nice thing about that cheat sheet is you can refer back to that. So, red-eyed females, they're both going to be X's. You can have X big R, or you could have X big R, X little r. For white eyes, you'd have to have X little r, okay? Here, for the male genotype, the males would be X big R, Y, would be red. X little r, Y would be white. Here's the question that stumps a lot of people. Are males or females more likely to have their recessive phenotype? Guys, I'm not asking for genotype. Who is more likely to have the recessive phenotype? So the first thing I ask myself, what is the recessive phenotype? Well, the recessive phenotype is white eyes. Who is more likely to have white eyes? Well, females, we got a 1 out of 3 shot. Here, we got a 1 out of 2 shot. So males are more likely to have the recessive phenotype. Why? Because they only have one X. If you are getting stuck or would like to go over this, just don't hesitate to stop by and let me know if you need anything. Thanks, guys.